Yellow. I've kind of wanted to make this video for a while. I do and don't know what I'm doing with my life. Many people from Instagram, at least, whatever, and people that know me in real life, know that I've been living in Hawaii for the last year, and not everyone exactly knows that I left 2 months ago. Why did I leave? Spontaneous, random. I just felt like it was time for the next adventure. I was like, I've been here a year, let's try something new for a year. I had a good bit of money saved up, videos are hard, man. These are uncomfortable. Good bit of money saved up. Also, just towards the end of Hawaii, I felt like not myself and like just, I don't know, all these things. I was like, I just need a reboot. And I forgot to tell her that. Anyway, left Hawaii spontaneously, went home. I was like, I'll just figure it out at home. I trust myself. I'll figure it out last minute and make it happen. And that made me a little anxious because home is not a fun place for me. Not uncommon. Plenty of people don't have a fun home. But I was like, it'll be good for like a week or so, because when I would come and visit my home when I lived in Hawaii, staying for like a week or so was okay. Week or like a little less than 2. And then it just kind of turned into much longer. I think, note to self, if you go home without a new geography plan, you'll probably stay a little longer than you wanted to and feel a little regret. So went home-ish. I wasn't even exactly home. I was just like connected to my brother and his girlfriend / my best friend, one of my best friends. And then we were like road tripping. So like I was home for like 2-3 days, and also most of my family wasn't there. Anyway, so that was like 2-ish months ago. And then we were road tripping. That was miserable. So awful. Blah blah blah. Then went to Costa Rica for 3 weeks. Thought I might move there or stay there like a couple months. I loved it, but I also didn't love it. It definitely wasn't for me. I didn't feel like staying any longer. So sent myself back home just like all of a sudden, like in a day's notice. Like really, it was like a day's notice. That was a funny experience. So went home again, stayed for like 2.5 weeks or something. A little bit of regret there too. And then I was just like so done with home. And I was like, hey, Olivia, I met her, we met online, and then we went to Costa Rica. We met at the airport and went to Costa Rica together. She could only stay for a week, but now we've been like just great friends since then. So amazing, love her. And met her. Oh, so I was like, I'm so done with home. And my plan was to possibly, she just moved out to Florida, so go to Florida, see her for a couple days, and then fly off to my next location, which I'll tell you about in a minute, which I'm scared to mention. I don't want to jinx it. Anyway, yeah, so I was done with home, and I was like, okay, let's just go to Florida already. I know it's a little last minute, I'll just let her know, because we kind of talked about it a little bit already. We just didn't know maybe like when exactly, but we knew very soon. And then she tells me she has to last minute go up to like New Jersey and Maryland and Pennsylvania and things for different things this weekend. And I was like, are you kidding me? I cannot last a couple more days at home. Absolutely not. And luckily it worked out. Uh, I came down even though she wasn't there, and I stayed at her place for like a couple days till she got back, and then got my own like Airbnb. And I picked up her dog, so she saved money on a doggy hotel, and I got to have a fun day at the beach with this dog. Who, if you saw my story yesterday, yeah, that was the dog who I stole from some chick. um, I'm in some Airbnb, and whoever's like there can probably hear me. Whatever, what freaking ever. Oh boy. So, uh, so now I'm in Florida. I got here like 2 or so days ago, and still kind of don't know what I'm doing with my life, but it's like fun and stuff. um, so I'm gonna spend a couple days here just chilling, hanging out with her because I miss her, even though it's only been like a month, but it feels so much longer because we just got so close, are so close, talk all the time, and like when we went to Costa Rica together, we were 24/7 together, like for a whole ass week. Um, um, so I'm in Florida now, just chilling, figuring out things before I go abroad. And just so many things I want to say about all of this. So many things, so many thoughts, feelings. So very funny. Don't know what the heck I'm doing in my life, but I kind of know, but I kind of don't know. I'm just like free wandering. Where I'm going next week, ideally next week. I don't want to like jinx it, okay? You guys might see me still somehow in Florida for the next like 3 weeks, because somehow that's been happening. You know, I went home. I was like, I'll be here for a couple days. Bam, 2-3 weeks. Okay. Who's that? Oh. And so I'm just like, just, yeah. So we'll see. But I'm trying to figure out things here, like order currency for this other place I'm going, and different things like that. What else do I have to do? I forget, but yeah. But wow, the past 2 months has been crazy. I left Hawaii spontaneously, and a little bit for a while at first I thought it was like an intuitive decision. Like I was just like, I just know it's my time to leave and I want to feel like myself again, and if I go to a new place I will, and it's like time for that next adventure. And my time here is done in Hawaii. I've gotten what I need from it. Another big thing was that I felt I just didn't feel inspired by myself anymore. I didn't feel like really proud of myself because kind of my story before that, before Hawaii, before the end of Hawaii, was like struggling through high school, going to college, that being tough, taking a gap year off of school, to try medication, which took way too long, and that was really rough. But I'm inspired by myself for that year for doing that, and also for staying at home that entire year. Home, awful. But I somehow did it, and wow, props to me. And then also dropping out of school, which was a terrifying thing to me. Terrifying, terrifying, terrifying. I could make a whole ass video about how terrifying it was, and the past 2 weeks have brought up a lot of feelings and like memories to things like that, and brought me back to like why it was so terrifying, because being like immersed back in Maryland and around these people and just their like perception on the world and how like taboo dropping out is and all these things, I was like, well, that same anxiety is being set back into me, and all over again I really feel for people that are terrified of dropping out. So that was a terrifying thing for me as well, and I didn't do it because I thought dropping out was cool or I wanted to drop out and travel and all these things. Like school was just so rough, and I was like, I just don't want to go back to school yet. I just need another year off. And I, like, if I'm honest with myself, I don't want to go back to school. All I want to do this is a 10-minute video. All I really want to do is go somewhere beautiful, somewhere that, like, just a location I would love, and just chill, just work, have friends, just chill. And so forever, pretty much all through high school, everything, I really wanted to move to New York City. And just kind of last minute, Hawaii came across my radar, and honestly, because of TikTok, but then my intuition kind of felt like, New York City, love that place, want to go there. I was even looking at apartments that whole month. Or like Hawaii, I'm seeing these things and it looks just like peaceful, sunny, beautiful. And around that time, it was like, when was it? It was June, and I didn't think I'd be able to move until like maybe August, September. So I was like, oh, it's gonna be cold. I don't want the cold. And I also was just thinking of like myself, and I really want to spend also that year healing. And New York City, I was just thinking like of like the cold and kind of just sitting on the subway and everyone has mean faces, and I didn't know much about Hawaii. I didn't know if it was happy people or whatever. But just my intuition was like, I feel like I'd rather go to Hawaii, and I can always come back, and I can always go somewhere else. I can always whatever. But yeah, and so that was a terrifying thing. I didn't know anyone there. I didn't know if I would be able to get a job. I only had enough money for like 2 months. But I was like, well, if I fail, I fly back after 2 months. But I so badly wanted to not fail, because didn't want to go back home. It would have been like the biggest disappointment ever, biggest letdown. Yeah. Where am I going with this? Hawaii. Where was I going with that? I wasn't inspired by myself anymore. Proud of myself anymore. Hawaii was just a huge, scary leap thing. I was like, I just had this thought that occurred to me one day, and I was like, if I just send myself there, I feel like I'll just figure it out. You'll have to figure it out once you get there. You'll just have to make it work. I'm very glad I was right. Things worked out. I figured things out. Things I couldn't have possibly figured it out from not being there. I think, like, trying to apply online and stuff, for jobs and whatnot. So that worked out great, and that was terrifying and brave and everything. And I was just so inspired by myself for dropping out of school, just because I knew it was right, for doing this because I knew it was right, for going to Hawaii for so many reasons, and I just knew it was right. And then towards the end of the year, I just knew, like, I kind of wanted to leave Hawaii after around a year and travel or go somewhere else, or like, spend a whole year somewhere else amazing. And 13 minutes, and spend that somewhere else amazing. But for months I had just been saying, like, I want to do that stuff, but I have no idea how and where to go and and just like kind of crippled and like held back by just the fear and the unknown, and like, just, I don't know how to do it. I don't know if I'm ready. I would have to figure out all these things, sell my van, all these things. And then I just hadn't been feeling like myself for a while anymore. Like, I wanted to have my friends left island. I wanted to make friends, but I just had no motivation to be like, hey, where are you from? What do you, like, I don't know, just even like try and talk. And so I was like, I don't like this. I don't like that I'm not being myself. I need to reboot. And I knew in my intuition, and a friend helped me realize, like, a month ago, this girl from Costa Rica hostel, but she helped me realize I wasn't running away from myself or something. I was running to something. I was running to, like, just feeling like myself again, and that I knew a new place and new adventure, and like really, like, not just like kind of, I think a little bit I was just existing at that point too. I wasn't really like living. Um, and so then kind of spontaneous, I was like, okay, I'm gonna leave Hawaii. And just have to be fortunate for that next adventure. And in my head, I think I was thinking like Bali or Costa Rica. Bali's closed, so Costa Rica it was. Where am I going with this? Biggest thing, and I just always want to stay proud of myself and stay inspired by myself. Yeah, I want to admit a little bit though that, well, okay, past 2 months has been, wow. I've learned so incredibly much about myself. And it was a really, really anxious and tough past 2 months. Being home had a lot of tough things about it. Leaving Hawaii, having this like crisis, like, oh frick, what have I done? What if I'll never be that happy again? What if this is this? What if I was just lucky? What if I can't actually make that happen again? Or like all these things, just freaking the frick out. I was embarrassed that I kept getting stuck home so long. I had a couple days in Costa Rica that were just socially anxious, and I was like keeping myself in my hostel room and things like that, and just really like embarrassed. I would love to post online and be like, oh, I'm traveling and I'm happy and I'm thriving and look at all these people I'm around and things I'm doing, and always have that. Especially I think a lot of the people I was around in Hawaii, it felt like everyone was like that. Like I was always so jealous. Like they're so naturally like abundant, so many great friends and doing things, and like I think it's also somewhat highlighted reel, but also I knew a lot of these people in person, you know, and I know everyone has their own shit, but I don't know, I feel like my shit was different, and sometimes I would struggle a little bit more than other people to make friends or things like that. So I don't know, things like that, blah blah blah. Sorry I say so much. So kind of these past 2 months, I've learned so much. I've also had some like I've been embarrassed about a little bit that I've been struggling or really anxious that things won't work out. Really, in Costa Rica, there was a lot of social anxiety there, but there was also a lot of like amazingness and like non-socially anxious times and days where I was like, wow, I'm just like having such great conversation with these people, and I'm so surprised by like how much I was thriving there, especially in my last week. Like I was just at this hostel, and I swear I felt just so myself and witty and jokey and like great at conversating. I think it's also easy when like you're around people and you're like, I love everything you say and I want to know everything about you. And what? This is about to be a long video. Whatever. Yeah, just a lot of like embarrassment the past 2 months, and I was like freaking out a little bit for a while. I was like, oh shoot, what if I'm like, there's a lot of so everyone thinks I'm so brave and like, wow, you solo travel and all these things. I had no idea what I was doing. I think I see now as a little bit, not really, sort of like a little bit of a delusional belief, just delusion, not delusional, but like confidence belief, despite never having truly traveled on my own before or things like this. But it was just, I was around people like that constantly, and I just believed I can do that, and I believe I want to do it, and I believed it'll just work out if I just do it. And y'all don't even know, there's been a lot of anxiety this past 2 months. Man, just so many things I want to say, but so much anxiety. And don't think that it was all so easy and all these things. Like, it's been so rough. There's been rough days, there's been crying, there's also been so much gratitude. What's so beautiful is like now I feel like I'm in a good spot. I have perspective on it. I'm like, okay, now I have it like a little bit more figured out, and not super anxious. I just like, I really believe in my gut that like this next place I go to and my next adventures, like I'm really confident. Like I'll thrive like I did in that hostel in Santa Teresa, and I'm just super excited. And I feel a lot more like myself. I feel all these things. I'm uh, grateful for my decision to leave Hawaii now. I see in many ways how it's actually better for me, and I see that like I just had a lot of freakouts that I couldn't do this, or I won't be that happy again, or maybe no place in the world is as great as Hawaii, and all these things. But I feel really just confident in the future and everything, and grateful. And as hard as home was, just one good thing is that it gave me like this reset, like just to breathe a little bit. I don't know if I mentioned it. I got an Airbnb when I was at home for the first little bit because I did not want to be at my house and that immersed with my family. I think one major lesson from life, especially these past 2 months, has been like just a little bit of time away and alone and recharging, journaling, whatever, is all you really need to like feel okay about things again and feel like, whoa, okay, I got a grip on things, I can do this, I got it figured out, all these things. But when you're just so high strung, high stress, like so distracted constantly, you're constantly socializing, constantly going out, constantly whatever, then yeah, makes sense. So much needed reset that I got at home this past 2 weeks. Okay, I want to say so much more, but I will make this the end of the video. Conclusion, this is kind of what I've been doing, is a little bit my story. I guess I went a little briefly over everything. Nothing's ever as perfect as it looks. Everyone's going through their own things. This has been really tough, but I'm also just so crazy proud of myself. And yeah, it's been really tough. But I can do it, you can do it, we can all do it. I don't know. Yeah.